To save the woman I had loved for years, I was left trapped alone in the sea of flames. The fire was set by her boyfriend, who wanted to burn her alive, so they could die together, proving how much he loved her. Outside the inferno, they embraced passionately as he proposed to her, and she gladly accepted. With all my strength, I cried, "Jenna, save me." She was about to make the call when her boyfriend grabbed her hand. "He knows I set the fire. Do you want to send me to prison that would separate us again?" She watched me burn to death with her own eyes, then testified that the fire was an accident. My death was ruled as accidental. She walked down the aisle with him. My parents passed away from overwhelming grief, and Jenna, their adopted daughter, inherited my family's entire fortune. She gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl, and lived happily ever after. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to 2 years earlier, back to when she was determined to reconcile with Ethan. She said to me, "Leo, the first still can't let him go." I replied, "Then go after him. You two are a good match, both equally heartless." One Jenna's house caught fire, and she was trapped upstairs. The intense flames kept everyone from daring to enter. After soaking my jacket, I rushed into the inferno without hesitation, desperately searching for her. I found her in the bathroom, collapsed on the floor from smoke inhalation. "Jenna," I called out to her as I lifted her up from the ground. "Hold on." She weakly called my name, "Leo." As I helped her toward the exit, just as we were about to reach the door, I saw the chandelier above us come crashing down. I pushed her out first, and the chandelier crashed onto me. My ribs seemed to be broken, and intense pain immediately swept through my entire body. In the moment Jenna was thrown out, Ethan caught her in his arms. Frowning, he spoke to her with what seemed like deep affection. "I set the fire originally intending to die with you in this house, but in the end I couldn't bear to let you die, so I came up to save you." She clutched tightly at his sleeve as if moved by his profound love. Tears streamed down his face as he cried, "Now, you know how much I love you. I'd even die for you." I believe you, Ethan. In that moment, when death was near, all I could think about was you. I regret so much that we've missed all these years together. I want to be with you forever, and this time nothing will stop us. Will you marry me? I'm proposing to you right now. Amidst the roaring flames, I saw Ethan kneel on the ground and pull out a soda can tab from his pocket to propose to Jenna. Tears streamed down her face as she said emotionally, "I'd do something so cheap, so utterly worthless, had effortlessly won over the girl our Harrison family had cherished for 20 years, even though her life had never lacked for designer clothes and luxuries." Watching the scene, a sharp pain erupted in my chest, making me cough up blood. With my last ounce of strength, I called out to her weakly, "Jenna, get someone to help me." She turned to look at me, pulling out her phone, but before she could dial, Ethan grabbed her hand to stop her. "What do you want to do? Call someone to save him? He knows I set the fire. Do you want me to go to jail? Then we'll have to be separated again." After a moment of hesitation, she put down her phone, tears streaming down her face as she covered her mouth and sobbed, "Leo, I'm sorry. I don't want to be separated from Ethan again." And then she watched helplessly as I was completely engulfed by the flames. Jenna was adopted by our family after her parents died. When she was 5, out of respect for her, we didn't even change her last name. Over these 20 years together, I don't know when I fell in love with her. I couldn't help but look at her, giving her everything I thought was best. But as her brother, I restrained all my feelings, only daring to be her knight, silently guarding her from behind. She had always been so well behaved before. Until that year in 10th grade when Ethan lured her away with just a hot dog from a food truck. I watched as she declared it the most delicious thing she'd ever eaten, saying it made her feel a warmth she'd never known before. The environment in our home stifled her nature, making her live like a puppet. She wanted to break free, following him in smoking, skipping classes, partying, stirring up trouble, and neglecting her studies. Her grades plummeted, and when the teacher called her parents, our father learned about her involvement with Ethan. I loved her even after discovering all the reckless things Ethan had led her to do. I locked her in the house, demanding she break up with him. She called me a controlling lunatic, saying they were two lonely souls in the abyss who had finally found salvation in each other, and that I would never understand them. I didn't understand what was so great about a mediocre man from an ordinary family who lacked ambition. We were siblings in name only, even if I couldn't be with her. All I ever wanted was to give her the best. Our whole family hoped she would find someone with a similar background. All these years, she had secretly resented me, blamed me for stopping her from pursuing her true love. Even if not as a lover, I was still her brother, the brother who had cherished her for 20 years. I was the one who truly rushed into the fire to save her. How could she sever my last chance at survival? Even after my death, she lied to the police, claiming she had fallen asleep while boiling water and left the gas stove on, causing the fire. My death was ruled an accident less than 3 months after my burial. She announced her wedding to him. I had once longed to see her in a wedding dress. I thought she would surely be the most beautiful bride in the world. Even if I couldn't marry her myself, just seeing her walk down the aisle would have made me cry, my heart aching unbearably. Now I truly watch her get married in the form of a spirit, seeing her wed to the person I despise most. Perhaps it's because that day in the fire, I already experienced heart-wrenching pain. My heart feels almost nothing now. In fact, I've come to regret risking my life for her. My parents were already devastated by my death, and now, with her insistence on marrying Ethan, their hair has turned completely white and their health has deteriorated significantly. She passed away in less than half a year. Jenna inherited all my family's assets, had twins with Ethan, and lived happily ever after. I couldn't accept it. If I had another chance, I would never love Jenna again. Let me out. You can't keep me locked up. How can you stop me from pursuing my true love? You're nothing but a control freak lunatic. Why do you keep forcing me to give up love? You have no idea what I truly need. Only Ethan understands me the most. Jenna cried out in her room, her voice choked with tears, as if she had suffered the greatest injustice. I had been reborn, returning to 2 years ago. It must have been after confessing to my family about getting back together with Ethan, only to be locked up at home again. I opened the door and stared at her beautiful yet venomous face. How could she have been so heartless as to watch me burn to death? My heart still ached uncontrollably. The moment she saw me open the door, she rushed forward, grabbed my hand, and cried, "Leo, the first really can't let him go. Then go after him. You two are perfect for each other, both equally heartless and ungrateful." She froze in shock at my attitude, eyeing me suspiciously before saying, "Leo, are you serious? You are really letting me go?" In my past life, the reason I kept her confined was simply because I couldn't bear to watch Ethan humiliate her. During their school days, it was our father who forced them to break up. He confronted Ethan directly. Father told him bluntly about the insurmountable gap between him and Jenna, that what she needed was something he could never provide. With utter disdain on his face, he retorted that our family didn't understand Jenna's needs at all, that our excessive control was what made her want to break free, that Jenna was only truly happy when she was with him. Father looked at him with disdain. "Then let us see whether Jenna will choose you or our family." The outcome of that wager was never in doubt. Our family won out of gratitude for being raised by us. Jenna chose to break up with him, saying it had just been a fling, and she couldn't believe he'd taken it seriously. Though she said those words the very day she returned from completing her studies in Europe, she ran into Ethan. Because of their regretful breakup years ago, she had never truly forgotten Ethan. She believed their separation had been forced by circumstances that she compromised only because she felt indebted to our family for raising her. She even kept creating chances to bump into him, wanting to get back together. Yet Ethan acted all high and mighty, embarrassing Jenna several times. She didn't care, but every time I saw him behaving like this, it made me furious. I wanted to stand up for her. But I couldn't lay a hand on him the moment I tried. She'd step in front of Ethan to shield him. She would adopt a cold and sharp tone with me, saying, "I've grown up, now I know what I'm doing, stop interfering." Every time she shielded others while hurling harsh words at me, it cut especially deep. This time she told the family they'd gotten back together in my past life. I locked her away, trying to make her break up with him again to prevent him from dragging her into his muddied existence. This lifetime, I simply stepped aside. Go chase the love you want. She was right in the past. I meddled too much. I was even her real brother. What right did I have to interfere so much? So this time, I don't want to interfere anymore. Whoever she chooses to be with is her business. Her future life has nothing to do with me. Perhaps it's because in this lifetime, I didn't stand in their way. She and Ethan truly reconciled. I saw their official announcement photo on Instagram. A simple white rose with hands clasped together, captioned, "Long lost lovers reunited, broken mirror, made whole again, will never part ways anymore." I saw it and even gave it a like. Jenna immediately messaged me saying she wanted to bring Ethan back to the Harrison family to meet our parents. I remember the day she brought Ethan home to the Harrisons. Not a single person in our family was happy the moment father laid eyes on Ethan. He sternly demanded they break up. He couldn't allow his daughter, whom he had raised like a precious jewel, to be with a worthless man. Ethan was no longer the delinquent high school student from back then. Now grown up, his methods had turned ruthless as he threatened my father. "I've got nothing to lose, just a worthless life. If you dare stand in my way with Jenna like before, I'll make sure your whole family knows no peace." With tears glistening in her eyes, Jenna clasped his hand firmly and declared, "Mom, Dad, if you insist on stopping us from being together, then all these years of your care and upbringing will come to an end. I won't give up Ethan. I already made that mistake once before. Do you know how much pain I've endured all these years? If you can't accept Ethan, then I'll leave this home." She took his hand and said she was leaving the house, making Mom faint from anger and nearly giving Dad a stroke. She walked away. Without even looking back, I was busy taking care of our parents, heartbroken that she was leaving home and worried about how she'd manage outside. She moved out of the house, taking with her many of the family's designer jewelry, handbags, and clothes. In the future, whenever they were strapped for cash, they would choose something to sell. Any piece of jewelry the Harrison family had bought for her was worth 5 figures, even 6. They had hardly ever worried about money. This time she could leave, but I wouldn't let our parents grieve over this woman again, nor would she take even a shred of the Harrisons' possessions. She didn't deserve it. 5 the weekend was Father S. 57th birthday. When Jenna brought Ethan home, he didn't bring any gifts, not even a bottle of wine, just his sour expression. She pulled Ethan in front of our parents, clasping his hand tightly. Dad, Mom, Ethan, and I are back together. As she said this, her gaze burned into me as if trying to gauge my reaction. In my previous life, seeing this scene filled me with uncontrollable anger and jealousy, prompting me to step forward and punch Ethan, directly telling him to stay away from her. Jenna shielded him and slapped me, calling me a violent lunatic who acted without reason. Now seeing them standing before me hand in hand, I feel no emotional turmoil whatsoever. Fortunately, I had already informed my parents about their reunion. After much deliberation, I decided to tell them everything about my past life as experiences, confessing that I had been reborn. They were shocked, but chose to believe me, as my ability to manage the company over the years was evident to all. Father managed to suppress his anger on the spot, though his expression remained displeased. Mother glanced at his empty hands and remarked, "You visit as a guest, yet lack even basic courtesy." Ethan seemed to have touched a raw nerve, his face instantly twisting into a vicious expression as he snarled. "Do you even deserve anything from me, a bunch of snobs? Nothing I buy is ever good enough for you. If it weren't for Jenna, I wouldn't even be here." Mom, Dad, don't blame Ethan. He has been having some difficulties at work lately. It's not intentional. I brought him today because I wanted you to ease the tension. She then took Ethan's hand and said, "Ethan, you promised you'd endure this for me." He reluctantly sat down. My mother turned to me and said, "Sophia is coming back in a few days. Do you have time to meet her? You're not getting any younger, you know." "Fine, you arrange it." Jenna, hearing my reply, dropped her spoon, shattering it on the floor. Her face turned unusually pale, her voice sharp with agitation. "Leo, you're going on a date. You said you had no intention of getting a girlfriend." In the past, when someone asked her to deliver love letters to me, I wouldn't even glance at them. I'd throw them away without hesitation and tell her I had no intention of getting a girlfriend. That was because I love her. I'd even resolved to never have a girlfriend in my entire life. That was before I never said I'd stay single forever. In 2 more years, I'll be 30. I can't remain unmarried my whole life. Mother finally showed her first smile of the evening and said with relief, "You've finally come around." Jenna absent-mindedly bent down to pick up the spoon from the floor, pricked her finger, and went to rinse and treat the wound. We were casually discussing some business matters, and when mentioning some technical terms, we exchanged a few phrases in French. Mother made a grammatical mistake, which made us all laugh. I knew she did it on purpose, just to lighten the mood in the room. After all, ever since they walked in tonight, this dinner had been unusually tense. Who would be thought Ethan would suddenly slam the table, as if deeply insulted. "I knew it. You all look down on me and deliberately humiliate me, using words I don't understand to talk behind my back." His mother explained to him, "Ethan, I misspoke earlier. They were laughing at me." Jenna returned, taking his hand and asking what's wrong. His eyes bloodshot, he roared, "They never intended to treat me," sincerely looking down on my family as poverty, mocking me for not having a father, saying, "I don't deserve to be with you, but I truly love you and I never plan to be apart from you in this lifetime." She believed his words without hesitation, holding his hand. "Dad, Mom, if you truly consider me your child, then don't stop us. 5 years ago, you controlled me and took away my happiness. And now 5 years later, are you going to destroy my happiness again?" These words truly chilled our parents' hearts, leaving them pale with anger. It also completely convinced them of how coldly she would treat our family in the future, leaving me to die without lifting a finger. Everything I said would come true. I laughed coldly. "Ever since you entered the Harrison family, our parents have treated you absolutely equally. When you were sick, they worried more than anyone, taking care of you all night. During these years, they sent you to Europe. They flew to visit you whenever they had time. Even holding the belief that boys should be raised tough, girls should be raised pampered. My pocket money for school was never as much as yours. How heartless can you be to say such things?" "Dad, Mom, I'm not Jenna. Don't apologize to them. They're just trying to emotionally blackmail you with family bonds." Ethan grabbed her hand. Her parents were heartbroken. Her mother wiped tears from the corners of her eyes and said to her, "If you really choose to leave with him today, we can pretend we never had this daughter. Jenna, they simply don't want you. Come with me. I'll take care of you for the rest of your life." Hearing these words, Jenna was moved to tears. "Okay, I'll go with you. I'll never come back to this house again. All I ever got here was suffocation anyway." Our parents didn't want to watch this farce any longer and turned away wearily to return to their room. I thought even if they knew Jenna would leave this family for him, when it actually happened, they'd still be heartbroken. She went upstairs to pack, and I followed, standing at the doorway, watching her stuff one luxury item after another into her suitcase. "Since you think our family never truly considered what you wanted, I suppose you must dislike these designer clothes, bags, and jewelry too." Jenna's hand froze. She looked up at me, tears spilling from her eyes. "Leo, you've changed. Before, you'd only worry about whether I suffer hardships or exhaustion. When going out now, you're starting to haggle over material things with me." "That's right. I have changed. I've become wiser. and more open-minded. There is no need to keep thinking about a woman who will never love me. I never intended deliberate revenge, but she could no longer have it both ways, endlessly benefiting from the Harrisons' generosity while simultaneously lamenting how unfairly they treated her, portraying them as obstacles to her love. I curled my lips, mockingly wooed T, want you tainting your pure redemptive love with anything from the Harrisons. Fine, keep it. I refuse to believe that with my own hands and feet, I de-starve outside the Harrisons' home. She threw the suitcase to the ground and stood up, pulling Ethan to his feet. Ethan looked at the contents of the suitcase with reluctance in his eyes. He had never had the chance to enter the Harrison household before. This was likely the first time he'd seen so many luxury items. I watched as they left the room without taking a single piece of jewelry. 6. I promised my mother to meet Sophia. We arranged to meet at a booth in the bar. She was a strikingly beautiful woman with an elegant presence, pouring a glass of wine. We exchanged a few casual words. He saw Jenna enter the bar looking around for someone inside. Then she found Ethan playing card with others. Jenna tugged at him, only to be slapped across the face in return. You dare fucking interfere with me. If I didn't have to support you, would I be out here playing cards? She collapsed to the ground, staring at Ethan in disbelief. You hit me. You said the Harrisons would give you money that they couldn't bear to see you suffer, so I could invest without worry now. I haven't seen a single cent. I've lost money. I'm pissed off, went out for a drink, played a few hands of cards, and you're making such a fuss about it. As he spoke, he even kicked Jenna on the ground. I usually make money, but ever since you came home with me, everything I buy turns into a loss. You're really bringing me bad luck. Jenna was on the verge of breaking down, humiliated like never before. Ethan, how could you do this? Didn't you promise to love me forever, to cherish me, to never let me suffer? Why are you treating me like this? Now you're out playing around day and night. Ethan crouched down again, lifted her chin, and said to her, I'd love to pamper you too, but I'm broke now. How can I spoil you without money? I'm sick of being chased by debt collectors all day. Why don't you go apologize to the Harrisons and get some money out of them? I saw those luxury goods they bought you. Those are good stuff. Just 1 or 2 pieces would guarantee us a comfortable life. Sophia took a sip of wine, displeased that man is truly a master of emotional manipulation. The main reason we oppose their relationship is his family background. Ethan's father was a man who would become violent when drunk. Every time after drinking, he would beat his mother, then kneel on the ground begging for reconciliation afterward. If she dared to mention divorce, he would threaten to kill her and their entire family. It was until his father died from alcohol poisoning due to excessive drinking that the domestic violence finally ended. Growing up in such an environment, how mentally healthy could he possibly be? Just like in that fire in my previous life, they were arguing when Ethan hit Jenna, and she asked me to pick her up after demanding a breakup. Ethan was actually so obsessed that he wanted to burn her to death, even saying he'd die with her in the fire to prove his love. I averted my gaze and said, no more. Some people just deserve what they get. 7. When I returned to the Harrison residence, Jenna was waiting for me at the doorstep. I tried to walk past her into the house, but she grabbed my hand and called out plaintively, Leo, I'm not your brother. You have no connection to the Harrison family anymore. Leo the first just saw you walking with another girl. She went into villa number 16. Who is she, your girlfriend? How far have you two gone? An image of Sophia bidding me farewell earlier today flashed through my mind. She suddenly stepped closer, tugging at my tie until I could smell the jasmine fragrance on her, those fox-like eyes staring straight into mine. Leo Harrison, has anyone ever told you you're incredibly alluring, especially that restrained look of yours? It makes me wonder every moment what it would feel like to be with you. Would you mind giving dating a try with me? I didn't agree right away. I still needed time to move on. My business is none of your concern. She suddenly reached out and wrapped her arms around my waist. Leo, can't you talk to me differently? It hurts so much. I pulled her hands away and took a few steps back to keep my distance. We have no relationship now. You agreed to those terms yourself that day. If there's nothing else, leave. Her face twisted in discomfort. Could you give me some money? No guarantee. They saying our family didn't understand what she wanted. Well, from now on, she'd have to work harder for whatever she desired. Do you have to be so ruthless? The Harrison family has gone above and beyond for you these past 20 years. After saying I didn't want to argue anymore, I enter my room. Please, I'm begging you to help me. You've always loved me the most since I was little. Are you really this heartless? You forced me to do this. She let out a sharp cry behind me. 8. I never expected Jenna to be so cruel after all our family raised her for 20 years. She exposed our family online, claiming we only adopted her out of guilt. Because back then her parents were working at our family's construction site. The poor quality of our building materials led to their deaths when concrete slabs fell on them. Even all these years living in our household, she never received proper treatment. Finally, she produced a love letter I had written claiming my obsessive admiration for her had led to extreme actions, even going so far as to imprison her just to prevent her from being with the one she loved. During her captivity, he committed indecent acts against her. All these years, she endured it continuously. Recently, because she wanted to reunite with her beloved, I took revenge by making sure she couldn't find any work. Her words were half-truths, and such statements caused significant damage to the entire Harrison Group's reputation. Many people now believe Harrison Real Estate's properties are substandard and that its executives lack moral character. Unscrupulous real estate developers boycott all their properties. Have the police arrest them, investigate, and imprison them adopted at such a young age. Who knows what kind of treatment they endured all these years. How disgusting being liked by such a person is. Truly terrifying. Looking at this picture, they appear decent, but who knew they were actually a pervert? Thinking they can cover the sky with one hand just because they're rich. The properties are severely unsold, and even many owners who have already purchased are calling to demand refunds, suspecting quality issues. Not only Harrison Real Estate, but all industries involved with the Harrison Group food cosmetics were completely boycotted. No one bought their products or demanded refunds. The most severe impact was on their stocks, which kept plummeting and were heavily sold off. I needed funds to stabilize the stock market first, and at that moment Sophia transferred $50 million to me. When I received the money, I was stunned. The Harrison Group is in this state right now, and you still dare to lend me money? Aren't you afraid of losing everything? Haven't you seen what the media is saying about me? That girl is the one we saw at the bar last time, right? Things can't be that simple. I trust my instincts. The Harrison Group won't fall so easily. Consider this money an investment for me. Remember to give me dividends when you turn a profit. Most importantly, I hope President Harrison remembers this timely assistance when they needed it most. What if the real Harrison Group collapses? Then come to Sue family. I'll take care of you. After hesitating for a long time, I still couldn't bring myself to type okay. Instead, I had the legal department draft a 10 equity transfer agreement for her. If I can make it through this smoothly, I'm willing to give a try with her, but when it comes to confessing feelings, it's better for the guy to take the lead. 9. So Jenna had known all along that I had feelings for her. No wonder she acted so strangely when she heard about my date. This love letter was written during my junior year of college. I had wanted to confess to her, but in the end, I never worked up the courage to give it to her. Her affair with Ethan became public first. How could she not have seen it coming and even had photos taken? As for the confinement after discovering their relationship, we simply made her stay home to reflect on whether she should be dating a man with poor grades and a problematic family background at this time, and whether she should focus on her studies instead. During this period, no one laid a hand on her. The bruises came from her own attempt to escape. By jumping out the window, she fell and got injured in the process. Her parents' deaths had absolutely nothing to do with Harrison Group. They weren't wearing safety helmets as required by regulations while working on the construction site. They had also left the cement bucket from the previous night by the unguarded edge of the wall. The next day, a stray cat knocked it over, and when it fell, it struck her parents, killing them instantly. Out of humanitarian considerations, my father still compensated their family at the time. My parents only saw that she had lost both parents at such a young age, and besides, my mother had always wanted a daughter. But since her health wasn't particularly good, my father didn't feel comfortable with her having a second child. That's why they adopted her. Little did they know whether in our past life or this one, she would turn out to be so vicious. She showed no regard for their years of care, never considering how heartbroken and devastated my parents would be when they saw all this. I comforted my parents and arranged for them to go abroad for a while to avoid being affected. I assured them I would handle everything. Then I called Jenna. Why did you do this? Let us meet and talk. She said, arranging to see me. We agreed to meet at an unused villa complex owned by the Harrison Group. 10. When I saw her, I couldn't tell if it was because too much had happened. Even her face seemed different to me, no longer as gentle and captivating as before. With a face as venomous as a serpent, I stood coldly with my hands behind my back, looking down at her with disdain. Tell me, what has the Harrison family ever done to wrong you all these years? Jenna pulled up her sleeve, revealing her arm, covered in bruises and pinch marks. Her eyes instantly welled up with tears as she let out a heart-wrenching scream. I don't want this either, but you refused to give me money during this time. Ethan kept hitting me. Because of money issues, I wanted you to help me. Why wouldn't you? I called you, but you blocked me. Even Mom and Dad blocked me. If this happened, would you have reached out to me first? The girl who used to make my heart ache for half a day if she so much as scraped her knee. Now faced with her body covered in bruises, I feel not an ounce of sympathy. Wasn't all this brought upon yourself? Weren't you the one who insisted on being with him? Didn't we warn you? We told you to stay home and not go out. Wasn't that just to make you break up with him? When have we ever wronged you? Wasn't it you who sneaked out to see him and ended up covered in bruises? How could you use those photos to fabricate things that never happened? Every time Ethan's family was mentioned, suggesting he might have violent tendencies too, she would say, we're looking at people through colored lenses. How can we look down on him just because of his father? No, all of this happened because you didn't give me money. If you hadn't stopped me from taking things from home that day, would we have kept arguing about money? If we hadn't argued, he wouldn't have hit me. Afterwards, he would kneel on the ground and beg me, kowtowing, crying, and asking for forgiveness. He said how much he loved me, that he did love me. He was just broke. Life was too hard. Leo, don't you love me too? Why did you go see another woman? Didn't you promise you wouldn't get a girlfriend? Why can't you keep helping me? You broke your word. I stared at her in disbelief. How could she be so shameless? When did you find out about that love letter's existence? And why did you deliberately take a photo of it? I did have feelings for you once, but did I ever cross the line with you? Not once, right? Yet you slander me like that. I accidentally saw the love letter when I went into your room, looking for a book at the time. I felt strange, somewhat excited. But since I was with Ethan, I thought of taking a photo of the letter as a keepsake. How could you claim to like me, yet treat me so cruelly? You used to be so good to me, never letting me suffer the slightest grievance. How did you change so quickly? She looked up at me with eyes brimming with grievance, as if I were the one who had done wrong. Do you know how your parents died? Yes, of course, I do. I overheard it secretly. You didn't tell me because you were afraid it would traumatize me. So you just said it was an accident. If you know everything, Haven T, you considered that I could reveal the truth to the public. Public opinion, not everyone wants to know the truth. Most people only care about their own interests, and even if you do reveal the truth, the damage to the stock price has already been done. I watched her hysterical state, thinking she had truly gone mad. Knowing everything, yet deliberately fabricating lies. Fortunately, I came prepared today and recorded everything. I'll release the recording once I get back. 11. As I turned to leave and avoid further entanglement, I suddenly felt my limbs go weak and collapse to the ground. She crouched before me, searching through my clothes. She took out the voice recorder. I know you wanted to see me, just to get me to fish for information, she said, caressing my face with a mesmerized expression. But I have other plans. I came to this room earlier and lit incense. Now that your limbs are weak, let us do something else. With great effort, she dragged me onto the bed and began loosening my tie, then removing my suit jacket. What if we really go through with it? Afterward, I could claim my earlier words were just nonsense, then release this video, saying I was forced by your threats to come forward and explain. Do you think the public would still believe any of your explanations then? After stripping off my shirt, she positioned the camera in front of us. 12. When she climbed onto the bed again, I pushed her away, abruptly sat up, and put my shirt back on. Come out now. One of the arriving bodyguards pinned her down. She actually thought I believe she just came to see me. I already sent people to follow her and knew in advance she bought aphrodisiacs to place in the villa. I took the medicine in advance, arranged for people to ambush outside, and even had surveillance cameras installed in this room. Even if the voice recorder is taken away, everything she did has been recorded. With this video, it can further prove that everything she said was lies. It will also make it easier to turn public opinion around. Mr. Harrison, shall we send her to the police station? No need, send her back. The bodyguard threw Jenna out. They said I was too kind-hearted letting her go after what she'd done. I could have easily sued her for defamation, demanding compensation for the massive reputational damage she caused the company. I was being kind. I have more than enough money. She couldn't possibly pay anyway. That's why I let her go. Let her wander with nowhere to go and no money. Life with Ethan will likely be harder than doing hard labor in prison. 13. On the day the video was released, I attached the truth about Jenna's parents' death at the police station years ago. The video was so explosive that it topped the headlines without needing to buy trending spots. Those who had previously vilified the Harrison group all turned their guns to attack Jenna instead. So it was all fabricated. Truly, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. The family took her in, and she repaid them with false accusations, causing them so much financial loss. Mr. Harrison, I won by the house, but I'll support you in other ways. Seeing her like this, I originally wanted to adopt a child, but now I've changed my mind. Raising such an ungrateful wretch is terrifying. That's really wicked. Don't give up just because of one ungrateful child. There are good kids in orphanages too. I think she clearly has ulterior motives towards Leo Harrison, even drugging him. What a dirty trick. Getting back with her ex-boyfriend while still wanting her brother to love only her forever. How shameless can you get? That is how the Harrisons didn't even report her to the police. They're truly too kind from now on, as long as Harrison Group has it. I want to even consider other brands. Products under Harrison Group finally saw relief, not just relief, but even greater glory than before, with stocks rising higher than ever. With everything settled, I messaged Sophia to arrange a meeting. She came to see me and even brought the 10 equity transfer document from last time, returning it to me. I helped you without any ulterior motives, but Mr. Harrison, I admire you even more now, coming back to life in such a short time. I reached out and took her hand and let us give it a try. Sophia. She immediately looked up at me, her eyes shining with excitement. Do you mean it? I nodded, and she lunged forward, grabbing my collar and planting a kiss on my lips. I wanted to do this since the first time I saw you. Finally got my wish. 14. After dating Sophia for a year, we decided to get engaged first. On the day of the engagement party, Jenna showed up. She was barely recognizable, her clothes ragged, her face gaunt, and sunk in her hair, a tangled mess. She looked like a female, ghost drained of all vitality. She held Sophia at knife point. I stared nervously at the blade in her hand. You can have whatever you want, just don't hurt anyone. You care about her so much. Jenna's face grew, increasingly distorted, her eyes red with rage. You claim to love me. So why are you getting engaged to someone else? Put the knife down, let us talk this through. It's ruined. Everything is ruined. Jenna sobbed. I've killed someone, there's no turning back now. Watching this scene unfold, an intense pain in my chest made me cough up blood. She was burned to death because for the past year, ever since she went back, he couldn't get the money from her. He began beating her, leaving her face bruised and swollen. She had nowhere left to go. Even when she tried to find work, people would reject her without a second glance. Ethan progressed from beating her to openly bringing different women back to their rented apartment. He shamelessly carried on with other women right in front of her. If she dared to say anything, she would be beaten severely. The worst time, she nearly thought she wouldn't make it. She crawled to the street and was taken to the hospital, barely saving her life. Recently, he lost a lot of money gambling again and couldn't pay it back. The debt collectors came to the door threatening to cut off Ethan's hand. Do you know what he plans to do? He plans to sell me to the casino people, to treat me like a prostitute, to let men sleep with me. He's not human. So I put sleeping pills in his food, poured gasoline on him, and set him on fire. He woke up halfway through begging me to save him while I stood there laughing hysterically. Save him? What kind of joke was that? He finally died. While she was ranting madly, I seized the moment to grab her hand and pulled Sophia behind me. She immediately stabbed with a knife, and I caught the blade with my hand, slicing my palm open. Sophia held my hand, saw my injury, and kicked Jenna down with one swift motion. She held my hand, her eyes reddening with anxiety, and I shook my head to reassure her I was fine. Fortunately, the security guards rushed in and restrained her. Pinned to the ground, she glared at me and at my parents with bloodshot eyes. Why didn't you stop me? Why didn't you keep me locked away instead of letting me be with Ethan? You ruined me. If I'd never been with him, none of this would happened. I'd still be the Harrison family as princess. As she spoke, she began to cry. Seeing her like this, I calmly said, take her to the police station. To this day, she shows not a shred of remorse in her heart. It's still our fault. I had a dream, she said, where everything was different. You all loved me dearly. You helped me, and I lived happily with Ethan. Why is everything so different now? She was dragged away after tending to my wounds and cleaning up the scene. The engagement party resumed. Jenna was ultimately sentenced to life imprisonment for intentional homicide and attempted murder with multiple offenses combined. She still had to perform hard labor at the end.